Dynamic, articulate, perceptive, courageous, outspoken.
Back with another reaction. This time, let's see if you can guess. You ain't gotta guess because I already put in the title. Society is Broken is the thumbnail. Unlearn Everything Society Has Taught You by Nick Rambles. I think this is going to be a very interesting video, and I would love to see what Nick Rambles has to say. So let's go.
Unlearning what modern society has taught you is easier said than done.
Really? Do tell, my friend.
Waking up and becoming consciously aware of the countless ways that modern society has programmed each and every one of us is extremely difficult, especially in this day and age where I feel that, especially personally, I know that I'm not even close to being fully aware of all the ways that I've been programmed, and just trying to deprogram myself of all this junk that I've consumed in my mind, body, and spirit over the years, over the last 27 years of my life. It's hard, right? But I'm going to do my best today to kind of speak on things that I've been picking up on recently, programming that I've been picking up on, and maybe try to give some advice as to how I think you can kind of move away from this stuff and live a more fulfilled and present life. So I guess I'll start with what kind of got me thinking about this topic in the first place was actually an experience I had at the gym the other day. And I'm sure you guys have heard some conversation on this at one point or another, but this idea that music is programming. It's people love to talk about it, and I've always heard kind of, the opinions on it that, yeah, it's the lyrics, it's this and that, and I never disagreed, but I never really felt what these people were talking about until the other day. And it was both for pop music and some like modern like rap music. And it's so bizarre because I grew up like loving this kind of music, pretty much all music, but pop, rap, rock, whatever. Like I was never one to be like, no, I'll never listen to that stuff until now. I'm starting to change a little bit.
Yeah, see, I feel you in that sentiment because music has a way of getting inside of you and influencing what you do. Because the more you indulge in something, the more you embrace something, the more it becomes a part of you. Even with people, the more you're around somebody, the more you interact with somebody, the more you take on like their habits and their behaviors and their thinking and the way that they talk. Like association brings about assimilation. So the more you associate with something, the more like it you become.
And I'm not judging anybody that chooses to continue to listen to this kind of music. I still listen to it now and then. It's just once you start to kind of become more aware, it's harder to listen to it, and I'll explain. So I'm lifting some weights, and I think it was like I think it was right round, right? Yeah, by was it Kesha? I think Kesha and Flow Rida. I think that's the name of the song. And this song was popular when I was a kid, and I'm hearing it now, and it's like it's not even like the lyrics are a big part of it, and people always bring up the lyrics of music and how they're programming, and a lot of time the messages of music aren't good, and I don't disagree with that. But what really got to me about this song was like just
it's extremely
the way that I
repetitive.
felt listening to it. It's I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you'll call me crazy for this if you want. Go ahead. I don't know how else to say it, but it really just made me feel uncomfortable. Like to hear this music, something about the vibration of it. I was like, "What the heck is going on? This is."
See, that's called maturing. When you mature, right? When you actually mature, like there's 3 levels of maturity. There's physical maturity, there's mental maturity, and there's spiritual maturity. When all of your maturities get to a certain level, you're like, hold on, man, wait a minute. I can't mess with this. The vibe is off. I can't. How did I even used to like this? Why did I even used to dress like this? Like, it's because you're maturing. You change every 4 years. Every 4 years you go through a drastic change. And for the most of us who become adults, who mature past a certain point, we don't want to keep indulging in things that we did when we were kids. Unless it's something that's like we're passionate about. You know what I mean? Like music and stuff. Music comes and goes. Like there's always a new song coming, always a new hit. So it's like, you know what I mean? And you grow up and you get older and you experience life. Like you can't keep doing the same things and indulging in the same things and thinking you're going to grow and change and become a better person or whatever. Like out with the old in with the new. Sometimes you got to get away from what the everybody in the mix is doing. You got to go somewhere and sit down. Like it's you're not a kid no more. You're not ignorant to the influences that music has, and it's like once you realize the effect that music has on you, you don't listen to stuff that will disturb you or take your peace of mind or make you think about things that you're not ever going to be doing. Like you got to get serious, you got to get real, and music is always good, but you got to find the right music for you, and as you age that will change.
So weird. And I think something that has gotten me to this point where I'm becoming more consciously aware of things and more mindful of things around me and what I'm consuming both consciously and subconsciously is the fact that if you've been watching me for a little while now, you may have heard me talk about me trying to be more just mindful in general, working on like breath work, stuff like that, meditating more. I don't know what I think this was what got me to this point. I'm not sure 100%, but that I don't view it as correlation. I honestly think it's more of a causation effect here. But I'm hearing this song, I can't hear that. I can't listen to this. This is so weird. And I put on my headphones. I try not to wear my headphones much anymore because I am trying to be more like in the workout and not distracted while I'm working out, because I find myself doing that a lot, distracting myself all the time. And I'll talk a little bit about that today too. But I put on my headphones and I do it for these videos sometimes too, just to kind of change my energy. I put on Tibetan healing music, like high frequency stuff, just meditative music without lyrics, anything, just peaceful sounds, and just to tone it out, because I'm like I can't just keep taking this in. And what really got to me about this is that you may not even like this music, you may not even want to listen to this music, but just being a human being in society, you're going to be exposed to this stuff all the time. Whether it's at the gym, it's at a restaurant, it's at the store, it's at a coffee shop, sometimes at work, depending on the work environment that you're in, there may be music on in the background. Not all, obviously, if you're in an office, you're probably not going to hear music, but sometimes, yeah, some jobs you're going to hear music, and it's all this type of music. And it's crazy, but not like people don't like, there's a reason. If you're going to take anything from this video, take this, what I'm about to say. If it's popular, it's for a reason, and it's probably not a good reason. Like, this goes for anything. If it's popular, it's for a reason, and it's probably not for a good reason.
I feel
and
that.
and this really, to me, music is just one of those that you really have to become more conscious of. I'm not going to tell anybody what to listen to. It's your life. Do whatever you want, but just try to pay a little more attention, if you will. If you're trying to live a more present life, a more peaceful life, have a better energy about you, pay attention to what you're consuming.
I gotta I got a little bit I want to say. Like, I stopped listening to rap music because it's too demonic nowadays. It's way too influential to doing negative things. Like, most of all the rap you hear nowadays is purely shoot 'em up, bang bang. It ain't even so much about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's just pure murder. It's just pure murder, blood music. Like, that's all it is. And I had to get away from that. Like, I don't want to put that in my spirit. I'm not a violent person. I'm not out here committing acts of violence, so I can't really relate to that stuff. When I was younger, yeah, I could imagine me doing gangster things and stuff like that. So I would listen to the music, but nowadays I can't see myself doing none of that stuff, and I don't relate to any of the violent acts that I hear in music. So when I hear rap music nowadays, like, I turn that shit off because I don't want to hear it. I don't want my spirit being disturbed. I don't want negative influences swirling around my mind, heart, and soul. I mean, I had to drop that shit like a bad habit because it's no good.
Pay attention to it, music included. Everything that you're hearing, seeing, absorbing, being surrounded by, it all adds up. And music is a big one. And I guess this is a good segue into what I wanted to talk about next was distraction, and that we live in this age of distraction and everybody is distracted by something. It
Namely, phones. Everybody has a phone, and you can easily distract yourself by scrolling on social media. Distractions are everywhere. Sometimes distractions are put in your face because they want you to be distracted and not focus on what really matters in your life. So yeah, when he's talking about unlearn everything society taught you, it's definitely a good lesson because you have to. When you mature, that's what you really do. You unlearn everything society taught you and you begin to learn who it is that you want to be in this life. That's what happens.
It could be video games, it could be movies, it could be TV, it could be sports, it doesn't even have to be something that you're watching or consuming media wise. People are just looking for ways to get away from the present moment. And this is something that it's encouraged by people in modern society. Yeah, just be distracted. Don't be here. Don't focus on the now. Just kind of drift off into whatever it is that you spend a whole bunch of time on that you don't even realize at times. And like I'll talk a little bit about how I treat gaming now. There's a time in my life where I was spending a stupid amount of time playing video games, stupid amount of time, like 8, 10 hours a day, and whenever I could I was just gaming. And honestly now
I think we're all a little guilty of that. Everybody who likes video games, there was a point in time where you would spend an entire day playing video games. But as you get older, you realize you're not doing anything productive. You feel like you're wasting your life the longer you sit there and play that game. Like, just sitting here like doing YouTube content, I feel like I'm doing something much more productive than just playing video games. Like, I love video games, don't get me wrong, but I can't play them like I used to. I just don't have the time, the energy, or even the desire to play them as much as I used to. I guess this is another sign of becoming mature and getting older and becoming an adult. You wanna handle your responsibilities before you start playing around. And it's like you wake up in the morning, roll over and grab a controller, like you ain't doing nothing for the whole day. Nothing at all.
Oh, I just get on, do one of these videos for 30 minutes to an hour, and that's basically it. I don't really play much anymore. I tone that down because I recognize that what am I distracting what am I trying to escape from? That's something that it's an honest conversation that you have to have with yourself. If you notice that you're falling into this pattern of whatever your escape is, what are you trying to escape? Why are you trying to escape? And you are not going to find that help from anybody. Like people aren't going to encourage you. Modern people in modern society are not going to encourage you to take control of your own life and to become more aware of what you're doing constantly and how not here you are. Nobody's going to help you with that. You are the only person that can recognize your own patterns, your own ways of thought, your own ways of escaping. I'm telling you guys, you gotta just. And this isn't to say you can enjoy things, right? You can enjoy if you like game, okay, play a game. But if you're playing 10 hours a day, probably something to think about there. Probably not ideal. If you're big on sports, that's okay. Enjoy sports. But if you're just constantly watching games, reading news about the sports, watching podcasts about this, we're just always absorbed in it, and you're never giving any time to anything else in your life, like your own well-being, your spiritual well-being, your fitness, your family, your friends, then that's something that you should, take a step back and kind of reflect a little bit and say, dang, like what am I doing? What am I doing? Because again, nobody else is going to stop you. And you're going to just continue to be encouraged to indulge in whatever it is that you're indulging in more and more. Continue to be encouraged to be distracted. It's great. It's with everything. Everything is designed in a way to keep you far away from the here and now, which is the most precious gift that we have as human beings, is being here and now and being alive. And we don't have much time to be here and now. And do you really want to spend 60 to 80 years of your life just distracted by things that didn't really matter that much? And maybe they were entertaining in the moment and fun in the moment, but really aren't going to be things that you're thinking about when you're at the end of your days, if you're lucky enough to, have a peaceful, if you're going to leave this earth peacefully, and, and you're on your deathbed. Or are you going to be thinking about all these things that you distracted yourself with? Or are you going to be thinking about everything else and like, wow, like, what did I do? What was the point of all of that? Right? I don't know, just some thoughts I had on that. But beyond that, I would say that there's absolutely a obsession with the material that is very much pushed by modern society today, especially in Western culture, especially in the United States. This obsession with getting money and just obtaining things, obtaining shiny new objects. And this isn't to say that you can't, like, you don't have to completely detach from material things. I'm not that rigid in my thinking. I know that, again, with just about anything in life, there's always people that are it's either this way or that way. I'm very middle ground on a lot of my takes.
See, what I think he's really saying is, you can have material wealth or have material things, but don't make materials like the end all be all. Don't make that the focal point of what your life is about, because that's a very empty life, devoid of any real human connection. It's just all about things. It's all about things, but nothing substantial. Like, most of the things you can buy can easily be replaced, but when you get older, you start valuing things that are priceless. What? Yes, you start valuing things that are priceless, like your health, your friend groups, your family. You know what I mean? Things that you were born with, or things that you acquired without money. You know what I mean? That's what's really valuable. Human interaction, learning, growing, changing, creating things, learning things, becoming a better person. Like, that's what begins to matter, and that's what you begin to value when you start putting away all the things that society taught you. Yeah, so far so good.
Just like I'm saying, you can enjoy things that entertain you. That's okay. But don't find yourself getting absorbed in them. You can enjoy material things. You can try to obtain material things. But completely obsessing over material things is not a good thing. It's not a good way of life. And this is the way of life that is absolutely encouraged by modern society today, especially in the United States. This just obsession with you need to make a lot of money, you need to provide for yourself, and we just have these varying opinions on what providing means. Like, oh, what's providing? Well, having a huge house and cars and and money for vacation, fancy vacations, and this and that. It's like, I'm trying to get more to this minimalist kind of way of living, and just like less is more. And like, yes, you can have things, it's okay. You can want to have things, that's fine. But if you find yourself just complete, like, worrying about what's the newest car, what's the newest watch that I can get, what's the newest, I don't know, what shoes, clothes, this and that. I need everything to be fancy and up to date because otherwise, if not, then I'm not worthy. Like what kind of way of thinking is that? And a lot of people think this way, and it's in different ways. It can be subtle, and this is like all generations. This isn't just a my generation thing. All the things that I talk about today, obviously I'm speaking from my point of view, which is I'm 27 years old. I'm Gen Z, kind of borderline millennial, but I really do think a lot of these ways of thinking and a lot of the ways that we've been programmed are, yes, current to this day and age, but these are deep rooted problems that predate my generation and the generation before it. I mean, this goes back a long time, and it's just like this American way of thinking of what success is and what success looks like, and I don't get it. I'll never get it. There'll always be people like, just, get your money up, bro. And I'll give you guys an example from my personal life. I come from a family of doctors and dentists and lawyers. So I've been around a lot of this type A personality of, successful people that have made a good amount of money in their life. Maybe not like, filthy, stinking rich, but made some good money, lived a good life, right? But I'm just from conversations that I've had with my grandfather in particular, worked as a doctor his whole life, neurologist. And when he thinks back on his time, like there's things that he loved about what he did and it made him good money. But a lot of the times he'll tell me, he's like, I wish I did something else. I really wish I did something else. And he's been someone that's, went on a lot of vacations, traveled the world, did all these things, had this kind of material success, but he never felt any sense of like true fulfillment. And this isn't to say you can be a doctor. Of course you can, and it's a great profession. There's a lot of people that find true, joy in it and help and healing people, helping people. But sometimes it wasn't for that person. And sometimes people go into jobs, especially here in the US, that, well, it's going to get me the bag and it's going to help me have, success, whatever that means. I don't agree with the way that a lot of people view success, especially in this country. But this is something that, I had a firsthand experience of seeing like what that lifestyle leads to. And I think there's a lot of young people, especially today, a lot of young men that don't have the kind of, they're not thinking about the 20, 30 years from now where they're going to be, and they're very preoccupied with the here and now, and not the right kind of way, because being present is a good thing. But when you're just completely obsessed with material gain and just screw everything else, you will have a moment at some point here, whether it's in this life or in the one to come, you're gonna be thinking, wow, what was the point of that? No.
See, I feel that, man, because you just spinning your wheels, really. Like, I know everybody aspires to be rich, wealthy, have a lot of money, but money is just a promissory note. Money is just a ticket of privilege. Money just says however long your money is, that's how far you can go. You know what I mean? But for those of us who appreciate the simple life, not having to worry about too much, just have enough money so that all your needs are met, your bills are paid, you can get food, you know what I mean? Once you really start to value the necessities, everything else becomes whatever. That's what I think he's getting on. Like, once you start prioritizing the necessities, the needs, the wants are just, I'll get it whenever I can. Well, I can't afford it this week, I'll get it next week. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's just, you realize that life moves at your own pace. If you want to be blast process and be a whirlwind of activity, you can do that and burn yourself out. But if you want to just coast through life, you can do that as well. And I think when you actually take the time and actually live, you start to see that. Just coast through life. You don't got to be in a rush This is not a race. You can do this thing at your own pace. Colonel Sanders got started with KFC when he was like over 60 years old. So it's never too late. All it is, you got to realize what it is that you want to do. A lot of people don't really know what they want to do, and they don't know how to go about finding out what it is that they want to do. So a lot of people just find themselves in a constant recurring pattern of recurring situations, a revolving door of the same shit until you want to get out of it. But yeah, let's keep listening to Nick Rambles.
Nobody's gonna care when you're in your last days. Nobody's gonna care that you had the car of the year. Nobody's gonna care that you had that fancy watch. None of that is gonna matter. None of
Absolutely.
it. It's and I don't know. And it's interesting. I picked up a book on stoicism the other day because I've seen so many people talk about stoicism, especially on the internet, and I never really like dove into it much. So I picked up a book on Marcus Aurelius, and one of his meditations, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but was kind of something along the lines of like, it doesn't matter like what you did here. It doesn't matter whether you're, kind of this rich man or poor man. Like you're all gonna get humbled at some point in this life, and a lot of people just kind of don't recognize that, I guess, in this day and age, or they're too their minds are way too focused on other things, and they don't really care. Like, oh, you're stupid to think like that. Okay, I mean, again, to each their own, but I'm telling you guys, just yes, if go make your money, go have success, go do whatever you want, but don't get too sucked in. Don't get too far down the rabbit hole of whatever it is. Balance is so important in this life. It's probably the most important thing that
I'm glad he said that because balance is something I was talking about not too long ago in one of my daily discussions. Bro, that's the most, it don't matter what you doing out here. It really does not matter what you're doing out here as long as you can find a balance. They even have a term for work-life balance because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and all play and no work, there's nothing in your pockets. So you have to find a balance. Even the earth itself is balanced. I believe, don't quote me on this because I'm not sure if I remember this correctly. I could Google it, but we ain't worried about that. It sits on a 23.5 degree axis. The earth has a balance, right? And if the earth has to have a balance, what makes you think you're any different if you're inhabiting this planet? Everything in your life has to have balance, and I'm glad that he said that. But let's see what if he breaks it down or not.
people just they don't think about enough. They don't take the time to look at, to actually sincerely reflect on who they're being and what they're doing, and they get so preoccupied in whatever it is that they're preoccupied in that to hell with balance. I'm just gonna go all in on this or that, and it's not a good way to be, at least in my humble opinion. Another point that I wanted to talk about when it comes to just kind of unlearning what modern society is teaching us and kind of catching on to programming. We have a lot of problems with technology in this day and age that I think a lot of people are aware of, but they're not being proactive enough and kind of pushing back against the programming of technology and social media and stuff like that. I'm at a point with social media that this is the only social media that I really use at this point
I
anymore.
feel you.
YouTube, like anybody that comments on my videos, that's basically it. That's all who I'm talking to on the internet at this point and what I'm consuming. I am not on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I still have a Twitter account. I revisit it maybe once every 2 months or so. If there's some big news in the world, there's a couple of people that I follow that I like to see like what their thoughts on or on whatever news. But that's basically it. I'm really not on there anymore either. I'll probably end up deleting it pretty soon at some point as well. But I gotta say, guys, like, get if you want to use social media, okay, use social media. But again, understand what it's doing to your mind, to your body, to your spirit. And people hear this stuff and be like, oh, it's just stuff on your phone. What are you talking about? You're exaggerating. I I have been using this stuff long enough to know that it absolutely affects you in a lot of different ways that
Well, social media, we're going to talk about social media. Social media is toxic. Social media is so toxic because there's so many people trying to go viral. There's so many people risking life and limb just to get notoriety, just to get prestige or clout, if you will. I don't really like that word. I like prestige. It sounds more prestigious. But anyway, like, social media can ruin you because you're constantly looking at other people's lives and you're comparing your life to their life, even though their life you don't really have any idea what it is. You just see what they show you, and what they show you may be a facade. It may not even be real. They may be rental cars they're using. They not even posing at their house. They may be over somebody else's house, a friend's house, a relative house, and they're showing you this house that looks so amazing. Like these cars, people be posted up by cars that ain't even theirs, taking pictures, and but it gives off the illusion that it's their car. You know what I mean? Like, so don't get so wrapped up in social media that you lose yourself. You gotta take a step back from social media because social media is fake as hell. It's a facade. Everybody's trying to paint a picture of their best self and present it to the world. First of all, nobody really cares about your life. And secondly, um, like I said before, most of that stuff is fake. People are trying to project an image that isn't real. They want you to believe that they're living this awesome life, right? But they go home at night and cry themselves to sleep because they're not really living that life. They're putting on a facade. They're pretending to live that life. And if you all believe it, then that's good enough for them. Don't be like that. Live in the real world, not the digital world.
some people, I guess, aren't willing to admit, and these are usually the people that are extremely addicted to social media that don't want to admit that they have a problem. That's fine. You know, if you want to just keep scrolling, and I mean just the fact that like this conversation about mindlessly scrolling constantly. I've never gotten to that point. I've never caught myself like legitimately just like mind-numbingly scrolling for hours on end. But there's a lot of people that talk about it, so yeah, that's not good. That's not a good thing. We should not be at this point where we're just on our phone. I mean, go check your screen time. Go check how much time you spend on your phone, and you'll probably be shocked if you've never checked it before. You'd be like, oh my God, when did I do that? But yeah, people are on their phone hours and hours on end without even thinking, just constantly. And a lot of the stuff that you're consuming it's heavy, it's heavy, like thoughts, especially with politics today. Oh my God. Like you go on your phone and all you're just crazy people arguing, fighting. This happened, that happened, this bad. And I mentioned that now and then I come back for the news, and I try to be as conscious as I can be when I come back during kind of important news cycles, if you will, because a lot of the news is designed in a way to invoke reaction out of us, even if it's something, even if they're reporting on something that, yeah, is important to report on. A lot of the times it's supercharged, whether in either political direction with whatever agenda. It's designed in a way to make you feel some sort of way. And you got to be aware of that. You got to pay attention because it's everywhere, and it's on overdrive in this day and age. And honestly, if you're someone that you're trying to find peace in this world, and you're trying to be a better person, you're trying to feel better, you're trying to just have a better energy about you, yeah, I would say delete. I mean, goal should be to delete the apps like altogether. I think that's a good, especially the ones like Twitter and Instagram and those two in particular, TikTok as well. TikTok, like, this is one that, oh my God, just the fact that it's how short the videos are, it's unbelievable. Like the fact that we've gotten to this point where we're okay with, like, yes, this video needs to entertain me, or whatever, in 5 to 10 seconds. Like, oh my god, what, how did we get to this point?
No
You know,
attention
and what,
span.
and that one especially.
That's another thing that I be thinking about sometimes. Like, how did our attention span get so shot? It's because you got Subway Surfers in the background, you got somebody talking on the right side of the screen, and then in the middle of the screen is what the video is actually about. Like, it's like you got to distract yourself just to watch something. It's like our minds are just moving too fast. Like, we have racing thoughts and racing ideas, so it's like you got to constantly keep moving. Everything's got to be at a breakneck speed, a breakneck pace. I need it now, 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 now. People cannot long suffer. You know what I mean? People cannot endure. People cannot wait. People cannot have patience enough for something to develop and to cook. Yeah, there you go. You don't have the patience to let something cook, to be well done. You want it microwaved. We're in a microwave society now, now, now. Even with AI, you can generate a AI picture like this and make it your thumbnail. Like, a lot of people are doing that nowadays, if you haven't noticed. But like, you gotta let things cook. Some things you gotta let them simmer. Like, they gotta really be in that pot cooking for some hours. Like, this blast processing society we in, no good can come from it. You got to take your time and be patient out here. And if you don't have patience, you're going to be taught patience.
Especially with the oh my god, the programming on that platform, holy moly. If you're going to get off any of those, that one is one that you should seriously consider just getting away from. But they're all cut from the same cloth, absolutely all cut from the same cloth. And they're just, again, distraction. Everything is distraction, keeping you away from the present moment, keeping you away from enjoying your breath, enjoying walking outside, enjoying your family, enjoying your friends, enjoying whatever activities you engage in. That's all is technology today. Modern technology, social media is just, it's just made in a way to keep you away from these things, and you feel like you're involved in something, you feel like you're engaged in something, and but you're not. It's an illusion, and it's something that I hope that in coming years people start to recognize more the damage that these platforms are doing to people. And you could hear this and be like, okay, it's not that big of a deal and whatever, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I promise you, you will have a more fulfilled life the less time you spend on your phone, the less time you spend on your computer, the less time you spend absorbed in these alternate realities that we've created that are quite often filled with energy that is depleting us, not raising up our vibration, not making us feel better. It's making us feel worse. But anyway, sorry, I get a little worked up about that one. Put the phone down. I promise you'll feel a little bit better. A little bit, at least. Other than those topics, I actually came. Sometimes I come to these videos a little bit prepared because I know it's going to be a kind of one of those conversations. Relationships. This
Ooh,
one, I've made a
relationships. I didn't think he was going to really dig into that, but I'm going to take a quick little break. Wait a second. I'm going to. Wait, can I break? I'm streaming? Oh my God. I didn't know I was streaming. Whoa. I thought I was I thought I was just recording, but I'm streaming apparently. I thought I was just recording, but I'm streaming apparently. Oh well. We'll keep going. I'm going to use this video. I'm still going to use this video. Didn't know I was streaming. Oh boy. Let's go.
a couple of videos on the channel about relationships, and this is coming from a young man's perspective. So obviously, I have my opinions, but I think no matter guy or girl, probably applicable. There's there's a lot of pressure on young people to hook up. And you're a loser, especially as a guy. Like if you haven't hooked up with anybody as a young man, you're a loser, and figure it out. And come on, like there's just kind of this culture behind relationships and dating, and that put me in a lot of positions when 18, 19, where I ended up in relationships that were not fulfilling, that were not good for me or for the girl, and did a lot of damage to me. That, had I just said to myself, you know what, maybe I shouldn't rush into anything because of any external pressure. And again, this isn't new to our society. This isn't just unique to modern society. It is still prevalent in modern society, which is why I'm talking about it today. But this goes back a long time, especially with like my parents' generation, and it goes back a while. But
Yeah, it's not
I
cool to
always
be a
felt like
virgin.
I gotta find the girl of my dreams. I gotta do it as soon as possible. And I was thinking this way about relationships at a time that like I wasn't ready to be in one. And I don't think really anybody is at that young of an age. Like when you're 18, 19, if some people will find, like I had a friend, he got into a relationship when he was maybe 15, 16, and he's with this girl for like 10, maybe 9 8 9 years, and they recently just split up. And I, for the longest time, I thought they were gonna end up being together. I thought they were gonna get married and everything, but they didn't.
Didn't
And
work out.
you know you this was a relationship that I think kind of came into play because, again, you're young, you want to, you have all these hormones, and you're like, yeah, and society's telling you that if you're not in a relationship at a young age, if you're not hooking up, if you're not whatever, then you're a loser. So they end up in this relationship, and it didn't work out. And I think that people get to this point because quite often they enter into relationships that they're not ready for yet. They're not. And this is something that you're not going to hear a lot of people tell. Like, be patient. Be patient with it. Be patient with yourself. Work on yourself. Become a better person. Know what you want from whoever it is that you're going to end up with. Know what you're looking for. Know who you're trying to be. Know whether or not you're capable of loving somebody. So, or have you loved yourself enough before you? If you don't love yourself, it's going to be really hard to love somebody else. A lot of people get into relationships hoping that that person can fix them. That is not a good way to get into a relationship, and you are asking for it to.
Can't nobody fix you. I hate to say it. Can't nobody fix you, and you can't fix nobody. If anybody's gonna be fixed, you have to do the fixing yourself. You know what I mean? Somebody has to want to do the work themselves before anybody can even help them. They have to want it for themselves first. So that whole term fixing and whatever, I never believed in any of that. You have to do your own inner workings. You can't have somebody fix you or hope that somebody will fix you. They're going to try to make you into what they idealize you to be. And their ideal may be the worst thing. That may be a living nightmare for you. Gotta do it yourself. When it comes to yourself, it's a DIY project. You gotta do it yourself.
Fail. And these are things that, yeah, people aren't going to really talk to you about. I didn't get these conversations from either of my parents, but particularly my dad. My dad grew up in the epitome of hookup culture, and just hook up with girls, and have fun and whatever, and it and there's stories that I've heard from him that I'm like, and that he regrets, that he talks about now, and you could tell that, especially like from that generation, from boomer generation, whatever, they they're very, it's hard for them to speak on like emotional things that happen to them, and but they'll give you the signs, they'll tell you the stories, and you hear it, be like, that definitely bugged you, but you're not going to really show it. And this is something that comes from this culture, this hookup culture that we're currently living in, that we've lived in for a long time, that people end up in relationships when they weren't ready for them, and they get hurt when they don't work out. And granted, listen, you could be as ready as you can be, and things may still not work out. It's life, it happens. But just this pressure to rush into it, this pressure to do it at a young age, with a lot of things in life, not just relationships, a lot of things. There's so much pressure on people to do when you're young. You have to do things when you're young. And I've always been fascinated by this idea that, at least in like ancient times, when you couldn't get into politics until you were 35 years old, right? And that was like that was just the way that they were. I'm pretty sure that's how. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like you had to live, you had to experience things, you had to mature before you were ready to do something. And then you can apply this to anything in life. And look, I'm not going to sit here and give you a like an age where like, okay, this is when you're ready. But there's a level of maturity that you have to reach that, I'm sorry, a lot of people are not at that level of maturity at 18, 19 years old. Like
Everybody grows up. I mean, everybody grows older, but not everybody grows up, if that makes any sense. Everybody grows up, but everybody grows older, but not everybody grows up. I always mess that up for some reason, but just a little nugget to think about. Oh, I also will leave a like on this video because I actually like what he's talking about. We're almost done. It's about 8 minutes left. Let's just go ahead and let him ride it out.
you have to understand yourself, you have to understand the world. There's so much that you have to learn, and this goes with relationships and beyond that as well. Like there's a lot of learning that you have to do and maturing that you have to do, that modern society doesn't give you that opportunity, because you're just, okay, go to school, go to high school, at least in the US, finish your high school education, go right into college, then go right into a job. You have all that pressure going on with that, and you got to pay the bills, you got to do this, do that, and there's never a chance to just step back and say, like, man, when do I like get to actually work on my own well-being and like who I am as a person? Like, does that ever happen, or do I just keep barreling through everything? Take some more time for reflection. Take some more time for deep thought. You don't have to sit under a tree for 10 years and become a Buddha, but it's okay to think about your place in the world, what you're after, what you're trying to do, who you're trying to be. It's okay to think about these things, despite how crazy society seems around you, despite how intense things may be at times, and how fast-paced everything may be. You can always do your best to slow it down a little bit amidst the chaos. Let's see. Did I have anything else for you guys? Oh, this one I think is worth talking about. Peer pressure. And this pressure to do things. This kind of ties in with the dating and the hookup culture as well. For a lot of young people, when you're coming out in high school too, but college especially, there's this pressure to, you got to drink, you got to go to parties, and you got to hook up at said parties. But this drinking and occasionally drugs as well, you get all these pressures, and if you're not doing them, you're viewed as like not being cool, you're a loser, like, come on, like, just be of the culture, bro, like, right? And you think about the way that people are being programmed, like, okay, drink to have fun, hook up with people that you're genuinely not going to have any meaningful relationship with, party and just be a degenerate, and like, this is cool, in this day and age. When you think of it like that, it's like, oh wow, that's kind of but people don't think about this kind of stuff. They just do it, they just go, they do it, they like, just fuck it, who cares, just have fun, and whatever, right? And that's the way a lot of people approach life, especially young people. And and they go and they do it from their 20 into their 30s into their 40s, and that maturing never comes. And a lot of it does come down to maturity, and it comes down to taking a step back and asking yourself, like, what am I doing these things for? Are these things actually good to do? Like, I had this stage in my life, and the reason that I talk about these things now and I try to push people in another direction is because I got lucky that I didn't do any damage to myself or anybody else during my stupid phase of my 20s. But I wish I could go back and undo these things. I wish I could go back and not drink the way that I did, not do drugs, not do any of the stupid things that I did in my early 20s, late teens. But I can't go back. But I can come here and try to tell people and steer people in another direction, a direction I think is better, that you'll end up being more fulfilled. And I mean, I feel way more fulfilled in life today without any of those stupid things than I did back then. And people will tell, oh, don't tell me how to live. Okay, you want to go, you want to have your party phase, you want to be crazy, you want to do great, go, do whatever makes you happy. But I'm telling you from personal experience, you get to a point in your life where it hits you. I can't tell you when. I'm glad that it hit me when it did at a younger age. But some people, it won't hit you till you're freaking 70, 80 years old. Like I said, on your deathbed, you'd be like, what the heck did I just spend my whole life doing? This was so stupid. And some people never just don't want to have that realization. Some people don't want to look at themselves in the mirror, don't want to be honest with themselves. It's hard. It's hard recognizing the places that modern society takes you, the directions that modern society takes you. And like I said earlier, if it's popular, it's probably not good for you most of the time. And yeah, partying, drinking, doing drugs, all these things, people, that's cool. It's the culture now. Certain drugs are being legalized, right? It's just, just keep having fun. Keep, just do whatever you want. And it sucks. It sucks to see it. It sucks to see that this is where we're at in this day and age. But, that's modern society. That's the programming, right? And if you're against these things, you're viewed as, oh, you're this or you're that. You're not cool, bro. You're a fucking loser. Okay. Okay, then I'll be a loser. You know what I mean? I'll be a loser, but I'll enjoy things over here in the loser corner, if you will. But I think that's basically what I had to speak on today. I don't think I really had too much. Yeah, that's basically what I had for you guys. I'm telling you that again. We are being bombarded in so many ways. We're being programmed in so many ways that I'm still trying to become more aware of the programming. I'm trying to wake up more. I'm trying to move in a direction where I'm feeling more fulfilled in life and just happier and more present in a good way, and more present with the people that I'm around, and more empathetic. And it's not easy in an era where these things are just not prioritized. That it's people. You're encouraged to be distracted. You're encouraged to be inebriated. You're encouraged to be indulgent in the material. You're just, the list goes on and on. Once you start to kind of recognize these things, these things that are in place, your own patterns, and you start being honest with yourself, and you start moving away from your old ways of being, life becomes a little bit better, becomes a little more enjoyable. And there's a lot of beauty in the here and now. There's a lot of beauty in your breath. There's a lot of beauty in just being alive. And pay more attention to that and less attention to all of the things that I talked about today. And I think that's at least a starting point to a better existence. I hope this helps. Thank you for listening, taking the time out of your day to hear me out, Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. It goes a long way, helps out the channel a lot. I appreciate it.
I'll go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and hit a subscribe because I wish people to subscribe to me, so I'm going to do it for you, sir. That's how it works.
Every single one of you. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.
This was a
Unlearning.
I didn't mean to click on. I didn't mean to replay the video, but yeah, man, this was a good dialogue, rather chill video. I like chill, relaxed videos. I do. He made a couple of good points. He talked about all of the basically the culture, all the things that you need to break away from so you can live your own life instead of living a carbon copy cutout of what everybody else is living. That's really all he's saying, man. You got to live your own life. You got to blaze your own trail. You got to make your own decisions. It's not about being with the in crowd. It's about getting away from the crowd and realizing what it is that you want to do. Maybe you can build your own crowd. You know what I mean? Get people who are of a like mind. You know what I mean? People who are on a similar wavelength and you rock with them. You got to find your people. You can't be trying to fit in with everybody. You got to find your group of people. And that's really what I think he's talking about. Good video, Nick Rambles. I appreciate you. Well, that's it for this one, guys. Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. Hope you enjoyed this reaction, guys. To the loo.